Montana 700 was pulling up in foreign cars, dripping in $375,000 worth of jewelry, closing real estate deals worth millions, living the life most rappers only rap about. He was doing this all before he made a song. But before the chains and the fame, before the record deals and the sold-out shows, Montana 700 was making his money a completely different way on the streets of Dallas. Fam, and the story of how he got that money, that's what we're about to get into, gang. This ain't just another rapper used to trap story, homie. This is about a young kid from one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in Texas who had 5 aggravated robbery cases by the time he was 14 years old. A teenager who was all in on street life, risking his life in traps every single day, doing whatever it took to survive for real. And then in April 2017, everything changed. Type 1 conversation, 1 death, 1 moment that shifted Montana's entire trajectory from the streets to the studio. From risking his life for unknown amounts to making millions legally. No cap. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly how Montana 700 was getting his money before rap, why he was so deep in the streets at such a young age, the tragic moment that changed everything, and how he turned street lessons into legitimate millions, gang. This is the real story of how Montana 700 went from survival mode to superstar mode for real. Let's get into it, fam. The foundation, Oak Cliff survival mode. To understand how Montana 700 ended up so deep in the streets at such a young age, we got to start where it all began. No cap, Oak Cliff, Dallas, Texas, South Dallas. The 700 block of Ivywood Drive specifically. That's where his stage name comes from, gang. Now, Oak Cliff ain't no joke, homie. We talking about one of the most historically dangerous neighborhoods in Dallas for real. High poverty rates, high crime, gang activity on every corner. The type of place where you either find a way out or you become a statistic type Montana 700, born Tony McDowell on November 15th, 1999. Grew up in this environment with his single mother trying to raise 5 kids. Fam. That's 6 miles to feed on 1 income in one of the toughest neighborhoods in Texas. No cap. The math ain't mathing from the jump, gang. When you grow up like that, when you watching your mother struggle every single day just to keep food on the table and lights on, when you seeing your siblings go without, when you wearing the same clothes to school every week, that does something to you psychologically. For real, it creates a desperation, homie. A hunger. I gotta do whatever it takes to survive mentality that pushes young kids into situations they got no business being in type timing. And that's exactly what happened to Montana. No cap. By the time he was 14 years old, Montana already had 5 aggravated robbery cases, fam. Let that sink in for a second, gang. 14 years old, 5 aggravated robbery cases. That ain't dabbling in petty crime, homie. That ain't stealing candy from the corner store. Aggravated robbery means weapons were involved. Means victims were threatened. Means serious felony charges that could have sent him away for years. For real, when you're that young with that many cases, you're not just testing the waters, gang. You're all in. You're deep in the streets. You're committed to that life because you feel like you got no other choice. No cap. Montana has been open about his time in juvenile detention type. He's talked about how he and his closest friends, including Mark Dean Burno, who he called Mike, were doing everything together from when they were kids. They got into trouble together. They went to juvenile together. They came home together. They were brothers for real. This was survival mode at its purest form, fam. When you come from nothing, when you see no way out, when the system has already labeled you a criminal before you even hit high school, you start believing that's all you can be, gang. You start accepting that the streets is your only option. You stop dreaming about a different life because dreaming feels stupid when you can't even afford to eat. No cap. Montana wasn't robbing people because he was evil or because he wanted to hurt people, homie. He was robbing people because he was a kid from Oak Cliff with a struggling single mother, 4 siblings, no father figure, no guidance, no opportunities, and no hope. For real, he was robbing people because that was the fastest way he knew how to get money to help his family survive type. And the crazy thing is, Oak Cliff was full of kids just like Montana, gang. Every block had young homies making the same choices, taking the same risks, ending up dead or in prison before they even turned 21. No cap. That was the norm. That was expected. That was life in South Dallas for real. The hustle evolution from robbery to trapping. So Montana is in his mid-teens. Already got multiple robbery cases. Already been through juvenile detention. Already deep in the streets, fam. But robbery alone wasn't cutting it, gang. The risk-to-reward ratio was too high type. You risk in major time for unpredictable amounts of money, and eventually somebody going to get hurt or killed. No cap. So Montana did what a lot of young hustlers in his position do. He evolved his hustle, homie. He went from just robbery to trapping for real. Now when Montana talks about his past in his music, he references risking my life in traps every day. Gang, that ain't metaphorical, fam. That's literal. He was in trap houses, spots where drugs are sold, putting his life on the line every single day type timing. The trap game in Dallas, especially in areas like Oak Cliff, is brutal. No cap. You got ops on every corner trying to rob you. You got fiends who might pull a weapon on you. You got police running up in spots at random times. You got stick-up kids specifically targeting trap houses because they know there's money and product inside. For real, every day you in a trap is a day you might not make it home, homie. But Montana was young and hungry and didn't see another way, gang. So he combined his hustles type. He was still hitting licks, still robbing when opportunities presented themselves. But he was also trapping consistently, trying to build up steady money, no cap. This is where the psychology of growing up with nothing really kicks in, fam. When you come from the type of poverty Montana came from, when you've watched your mother struggle for years, when you felt that hunger and embarrassment and desperation, you develop this extreme risk-taking mentality. For real, you willing to do things other people won't do because you already at the bottom, gang. You already got nothing to lose. Type timing. Montana has talked about how he felt like he was the last one standing, homie. How all his partners from back then are either dead or in prison. How he can count on his fingers how many people he started with are still alive and free, and he ain't even 25 yet. No cap. That's the reality of the life he was living, fam. That's the daily gamble he was taking. His life for some money that might not even be enough for real. But here's what people don't understand about that level of street life, gang. When you're in it, you don't think about the consequences like that type. You're not thinking about dying or going to prison for life. You thinking about right now? You thinking about putting food on the table today? You thinking about helping your mama pay rent this month? You thinking about getting some fresh clothes so you don't look like a complete bum at school? No cap. The trap becomes your job, homie. Robbery becomes your side hustle. The streets become your career. And just like any career, you trying to excel at it. You trying to make as much money as possible. You trying to build something for real? Except this career can get you killed at any moment, gang. Montana was moving through Oak Cliff with a target on his back every single day. Fam. Between his robbery cases and his trapping, he had ops who wanted him dead. Police who wanted him locked up and stick-up kids who wanted to rob him type timing. He was living in constant survival mode, constantly looking over his shoulder, constantly strapped up, ready for whatever. No cap. And the wildest part, this was normal for him and his crew gang. This was just life. This was what you did if you were from Oak Cliff and you were broke and you wanted to eat for real. There was no exit strategy. There was no plan B. This was the plan, homie. Montana talks in his music about how the streets showed a young dude early ain't no real love type. That's real talk, fam. The streets don't love you, gang. The streets will use you up and spit you out and not think twice about it. But when you in it, when you getting that money, when you providing for your people, it feels like love. No cap, it feels like purpose. It feels like you finally matter for real. That's the trap within the trap, homie. The streets give you a false sense of value and importance, gang. They make you feel like you somebody when the rest of society treats you like you, nothing type. And that psychological hook keeps young kids like Montana risking their lives day after day after day. No cap. But in April 2017, everything was about to change, fam. Everything Montana thought he knew about his path, about his future, about his purpose, it was all about to get flipped upside down for real. It was all about to get flipped upside down for real. Act 3, The Catalyst. April 2017, the conversation that changed everything. April 2017, gang. Montana is still in the streets heavy, still trapping, still hitting licks, still living that dangerous life in Oak Cliff. No cap. But something significant happened that month. Something that would completely alter the trajectory of his entire life for real. Montana moved to Houston 3 months after getting out of juvenile detention. Fam. He was trying to get a fresh start, trying to distance himself from some of the heat he had back in Dallas, trying to figure out his next move type. But he stayed in constant contact with his best friend back home, Mark Dean Burno, the homie he called Mike Gang. Montana and Mike were inseparable growing up, homie. They did everything together from when they were kids. They got into trouble together. They went to juvenile together. They came home together. They were brothers in every sense that mattered. No cap. The type of friendship where you talking on the phone for hours every single day, even though you miles apart. For real. One day during one of these phone calls, Montana started rapping for Mike Fam, just freestyling. Just putting words together. Nothing professional, nothing serious, just something to do. type timing. And Mike was impressed, gang. He was hyping Montana up, telling him he was nice with it, telling him he could really do something with this rap no cap. This was significant for Montana because up to that point, he never really considered music as a real option, homie. It was just something he did for fun, something to pass time, not an actual career path for real. But Mike saw something in Montana that Montana didn't even see in himself yet. Fan Mike heard the potential, heard the authenticity, heard the pain and the struggle and the real street experience in his lyrics, gang. And he encouraged Montana to take it serious, to pursue it, to see where it could go type. Here's where the story gets heavy though, homie. Here's where everything changes, no cap. Mike thought rap was goofy, fam. He didn't really believe in the whole rap dream thing for himself. To him, rap was something other people did, not something for street dudes from Oak Cliff who were really in the trenches for real. But he believed in Montana. He saw his boy had something special, and he wanted to see him win, gang. It was 3 weeks after that phone conversation when Mike passed away. Homie Mark Dean Burno died in 2017 at just 17 years old. No cap. His best friend, his brother, the one person who saw his potential and encouraged him to pursue music. Gone just like that. Fam, Montana was devastated, gang. Completely broken for real. Losing your best friend when you that young, especially when you both been through so much together. When you both survived the streets together, when you both made it out of juvenile together, that's a pain that don't go away type timing. But something inside Montana shifted in that moment, homie. Something profound and life-changing happened in the midst of all that grief and pain. No cap. Montana realized he had never been to a studio before that conversation with Mike Fam. He had never taken music seriously. He had never even considered it as a real possibility. But now his best friend was gone, and Mike had believed in him, had encouraged him, had hyped him up about his talent, gang, and Montana felt like he owed it to Mike's memory to at least try for real. My homie died at 17, Montana said in an interview. The world got to know this. I got to get his name known. I'm already rapping, and this the way. I don't know anything else I really like doing. I know I can put some rhymes together, though, and they pay you to do it. All right, let's try. Type, that's the moment. Montana 700. The street dude started his transformation into Montana 700, the rapper. No cap. Not because he wanted fame. Not because he wanted to be a celebrity, but because his best friend died believing in him and he wanted to honor that belief by actually giving music a real shot. Fam, the irony is painful, gang. Mike thought rap was goofy and didn't pursue it himself. But he became the reason Montana pursued it for real. Mike's death was the catalyst that pushed Montana out of the streets and into the studio, homie. The friend who couldn't see a future in music for himself ended up being the reason his boy found success in music. No cap. This is what people mean when they say sometimes it takes losing everything to find your real path. Fam, Montana lost his best friend, lost his brother, lost someone who could have been right there with him through all this success, gang. But that loss created the motivation, the purpose, the drive to actually pursue something different, something legal, something that could take him out of the trap life for good, for real. Montana honors Mike's memory and everything he does now, homie. The back cover of his debut mixtape, 700 Reasons, was shot at Mike's gravesite, type timing. He references Long Live Double M in his social media, paying tribute to Mark, no cap. His whole career, his whole transformation, his whole success, it's all built on the foundation of honoring his fallen brother. Fam, that's not just rap motivation talk, gang. That's real pain channeled into purpose. For real, that's survivor's guilt turned into survivor's responsibility. Montana couldn't save Mike, but he could make sure Mike's belief in him wasn't for nothing. No cap. He could make sure the world knew about his brother, even if they never got to meet him, homie. April 2017 was the month everything changed for Montana 700 fam. The month he lost his best friend but found his purpose. The month the streets lost a soldier, but the studio gained a star type. The month that proved sometimes the most tragic moments in our lives can become the most transformative if we let them, gang. The transformation from streets to studios. After Mike's death, Montana was at a crossroads. Fam. He was still in Houston, still dealing with grief, still trying to process everything that happened, gang. But he had made a decision. He was going to pursue this music for real. No cap. But here's the thing. Montana didn't know anything about the music industry, homie. He'd never been in a professional studio before. Didn't know how to pay for studio time. Didn't know how to promote music. Didn't know how to build a following. Didn't know anything except the streets for real. So he had to teach himself everything, gang. And I mean everything type Montana has talked about how he moved out of his mama's house and had to figure it all out on his own. fan. Everything I did, I had to do by myself. I gotta live and try to rap, he said in an interview. No cap. That's pressure right there, homie. That's choosing to pursue a dream while still having to survive, still having to pay bills, still having to eat. For real. And Montana didn't just jump into music and immediately blow up, gang. That's not how this story goes. Type timing. He grinded for years before seeing any real success. No cap. Years of recording in cars while traveling. Years of paying for his own studio time out of pocket. Years of promoting his own music with no help. Years of teaching himself the business side, the marketing side, the branding side. Fam. But here's where Montana street experience became his biggest asset, homie. All those years of hustling in the trap. All those years of figuring out how to make money in impossible situations. All those years of survival skills that translated directly to the music business game. In the streets, you gotta know how to move product for real. In music, you gotta know how to move your brand. In the streets, you gotta know who to trust and who plotting on you. No cap. In music, you gotta know which industry people are real and which ones trying to finesse you, fam. In the streets, you gotta stay consistent to build a reputation. In music, you gotta stay consistent to build a fan base type Montana, applied everything he learned surviving in Oak Cliff to surviving in the music industry, gang. And it worked for real. He gave himself a 6-month ultimatum, homie. 6 months to see if this music could really work. If he could really make a living off it. If he could really turn his pain and his story into something profitable and meaningful. No cap. That's the same mindset he had in the streets. Set a goal, execute, see results, or pivot type timing. Montana started dropping music consistently, fam. Mixtapes, EPs, singles, just flooding the Dallas scene with his sound gang. His music was different from a lot of what was coming out of Dallas at the time. For real, it had that authentic street pain in it. You could hear the struggle in his voice. You could feel the real experiences in his lyrics. No cap. Songs about risking his life in traps every day weren't metaphors for Montana, homie. That was his actual life he was describing, fam. Songs about watching his partners die or go to prison weren't made up for street cred, gang. Those were his real brothers he was losing. That authenticity resonated with people because you can't fake that type of pain for real. His breakout moment started coming together around 2022 type. He dropped an EP called The One that started getting real attention in Dallas. No cap. Then in 2024, he linked up with fellow Dallas artist Zillionaire Doe for a collaborative project called 742 that really put them both on the map in the new Dallas movement. Fam. But the real momentum came when Montana dropped Pipeline Gang. That song went crazy in Dallas for real. Local radio started playing it. Clubs started playing it. People were really with the energy, the lyrics, the whole vibe Montana was bringing. No cap. He became known as Mr. Pipeline. And that nickname stuck, homie. Then Count dropped, and that went even more viral, fam. Montana sampled Jeezy's, and then what? A classic southern trap record and put his own Oak Cliff spin on it, gang. The song got over 1 million views within a month of dropping. Jeezy himself showed love to it type. That's when the industry really started paying attention. No cap. 300 Entertainment came calling, homie. One of the biggest independent labels in hip-hop wanted to sign Montana 700 for real. And in 2024, he officially signed the deal. Fam, that's when he knew this was real, gang. That's when he knew the 6-month gamble had paid off. That Mike's belief in him was validated. That all those years of grinding and figuring it out on his own had led to something legitimate. No cap. February 7th, 2025, Montana dropped his official debut mixtape with 300 Entertainment, 700 Reasons, type timing, 15 tracks of pure Oak Cliff storytelling, fam features from Big X, The Plug, T Grizzly, Hunk Show, Peasy, and his longtime collaborator, Zillionaire Doe Gang. Production from Chop Squad DJ Ziggy Made It Fuels, some of the hottest producers in the game for real. The mixtape title 700 Reasons is a direct reference to the 700 block of Ivywood Drive where Montana grew up. No cap. That's where it all started for him, homie. That's where he learned to survive. That's where he became who he is today, fan. And the cover art shot at his local corner store in Oak Cliff, gang. The back cover shot at Mike's gravesite, keeping his brother's memory alive through the art for real. The song Robert Horry on that tape is the most meaningful to Montana type, named after the multi-time NBA champion known for hitting clutch shots. The song is about winning championships in the streets, not through violence, but through transformation. No cap. To do what I'm doing is like winning a championship in the streets, Montana said in an interview, fam. To be able to switch lanes, find another way to make money, feed your family, and build generational wealth. That's like winning a championship. I'm the last one. All my partners are dead or in jail. I can count on my fingers how many partners I have left. I ain't over 25. I had partners since I was 15. Gang. That quote right there tells you everything about Montana's mindset, homie. He understands that getting out of the streets alive and successful is rarer than winning an NBA championship for real. Most young homies from Oak Cliff don't make it out. They end up dead or in prison before they even hit their mid-20s. No cap, Montana recognizing that he's one of the few who made it out. That survivor's guilt mixed with gratitude, mixed with responsibility all at once. Fam. In August 2025, Montana dropped his second mixtape of the year, The Greatest of All Traps Gang. More features from heavy hitters like YFN Lucci, Low Shimmy, and Kaki Ka type timing. More stories from the trenches. More motivation for other young homies trying to find a way out. No cap, the tape represents his internal conflict. Homie, 1 foot still in the streets mentally, 1 foot in the music industry physically for real. Songs like Real Pain with Zillionaire Doe. Talk about choosing a different lane to make honest money. Fam on the Road has Montana contemplating whether he should go back to Dallas or hit up Club Live. The war between his past and his present playing out in real time through his lyrics, gang. If the rap ain't start taking off, I would have never quit. Montana raps on the Road, no cap. Did it for my mama and my granny. Gotta go legit. I can feed the whole hood without selling bricks type. That's a man who understands he was this close to being another Oak Cliff casualty, fam. That's a man grateful for the opportunity to leave the trap behind and still provide for his people. For real. The current empire from surviving to thriving. Now let's talk about where Montana 700 is today, gang. Because this ain't just a story about surviving the streets. This is a story about thriving legally. No cap. Montana is currently signed to 300 Entertainment through his Remain Solid imprint Fan. He's got music deals worth 6 figures. He's doing real estate deals worth millions. He's rocking $375,000 in jewelry, not because he needs to flex, but because he can. Because he earned it legitimately. Because that's tangible proof that leaving the trap was the right move for real. His Instagram at Montana700 has over 337,000 followers, gang. His music has surpassed 7 million streams across all platforms, homie. His YouTube channel getting millions of views. Type timing. He's performed at major venues, shared stages with Moneybagg Yo and Rod Wave, got co-signs from some of the biggest names in Southern hip-hop. No cap. But more importantly, Montana has become a face of the new Dallas movement, fan. This ain't just about his individual success, gang. This is about changing the culture of Dallas hip-hop. For real. The new Dallas movement, coined by Zillionaire Doe, is about unity and community instead of division and violence, homie. It's about rappers from different parts of Dallas coming together, supporting each other, pushing each other to be better, building something bigger than themselves. Type Montana is one of the main leaders of this movement. No cap, it's what is going on right now in the city banded together. Everybody is one, Montana explained in an interview. Fam, a lot of people's city doesn't support them at all. For the ones that were doing it right before me, they came from the same thing I came from. So to be supporting me means a lot, gang. Montana ain't gatekeeping his success either, homie. He's actively encouraging other young artists from Dallas to join the movement, to pursue music, to find their own way out of the streets for real. I got the door open. I'ma hold this for as long as I can until everybody get in. We going to Stampede. You can't gatekeep what is destined to happen. He said, no cap. That's leadership, fam. That's using your platform and your success to lift others up. That's understanding that real wealth isn't just about what you make. It's about what you build for your community. Gang Montana is also making sure his family is straight type timing. Remember, he came from a single mother raising 5 kids in Oak Cliff. Now he's able to provide for his mom, his siblings, his own kids. No cap. That's the whole point of making it out, homie. To be able to take care of the people who were there when you had nothing for real. But Montana hasn't forgotten where he came from, gang. He hasn't forgotten the struggle. He hasn't forgotten the friends he lost along the way. And most importantly, he hasn't forgotten Mike. Fam, everything Montana does now, every song he releases, every show he performs, every deal he closes, it's all in Mike's memory. No cap. The Double M references throughout his music and social media, Long Live M, are constant reminders of why he's doing this, homie. His brother believed in him when he didn't believe in himself. His brother saw something in him that nobody else saw. His brother pushed him toward music when he was too deep in the streets to see any other path for real. And now Montana is living proof that Mike was right. Fam, that belief wasn't misplaced. That potential Mike saw wasn't imaginary, gang. Montana took that belief and turned it into a career, a movement, a legacy type, the street lessons that built an empire. Let's break down exactly how Montana's street experience translated into business success, because this is crucial for understanding his transformation. Fam, lesson 1. Consistency is everything in the trap. If you ain't consistent, you ain't eating, gang. Customers need to know they can depend on you. The product needs to be reliable. You can't just show up when you feel like it and expect to make money. No cap. Montana applied this same principle to music, homie. He didn't drop one song and wait for it to blow up for real. He flooded the market with content. Mixtapes, EPs, singles, features, videos, all consistently, all maintaining quality type timing. That's how you build a fan base and keep them engaged, fam. Lesson 2, authenticity sells in the streets. If you fake, you get exposed quick, gang. You can't pretend to be about that life when you not. No cap. People see through it and either call you out or worse, homie. Montana's music resonates because it's real. For real. He not making up stories for street cred. He actually lived everything he raps about. Type that authenticity is what separates him from industry plants and studio gangsters. Fam people connect with real pain, real struggle, real triumph, gang. Lesson 3, know your value. In the trap, you gotta know what you're worth and not let nobody lowball you. No cap. You gotta understand your product's value and negotiate accordingly, homie. Montana applied this to his music business dealings for real. He didn't just sign with the first label that showed interest, fam. He waited for the right deal. The deal that valued him appropriately, the deal that gave him creative control while providing resources, gang. That's why he ended up with 300 Entertainment. They understood his value and met it type timing. Lesson 4, trust your circle, but verify everything. In the streets, blind trust gets you killed or robbed, no cap. You gotta trust your team, but also keep eyes on everything. Verify all transactions. Make sure nobody playing you, homie. Montana had to teach himself the business side of music because he understood this principle. Bam. He couldn't just let industry people handle everything and hope for the best game. He learned about contracts, royalties, publishing, distribution, all the technical. So he couldn't be taken advantage of for real. That's street smarts applied to business type. Lesson 5, adapt or die. In the streets, the game always changing. No cap. New competitors come in. Police tactics evolve. Market demands shift. If you don't adapt, you get left behind or locked up, homie. Montana adapted from pure street hustle to combining trapping with robbery, then adapted again from illegal money to legal money through music. Fam, each time his environment changed or circumstances demanded it, he pivoted and found a new way to win. Gang. That survival instinct turned into business strategy for real. Lesson 6, your reputation is your currency. In the streets, all you got is your name and your reputation type timing. If you're known as somebody who moves right, people want to work with you, fam. If you're known as a snake, you get treated accordingly. No cap. Montana built his reputation in Dallas as somebody who really lived what he rapped about, gang. That reputation gave him credibility, which gave him opportunities, homie. Labels wanted to sign him because he was the real deal, not despite it for real. His street reputation became his musical brand type, the cost of success, survivors, guilt, and responsibility. But let's keep it real about something people don't talk about enough, fam. The cost of making it out when most of your people don't, gang. Montana talks about being the last one. No cap. About counting on his fingers how many partners he has left from back in the day, homie. About losing friends to death in prison while he's out here successful and free for real. That's survivor's guilt, fan. That's the psychological weight of being one of the few who made it out, gang. Every time Montana performs, every time he closes a deal, every time he posts his success on social media, there's probably a part of him thinking about all the homies who should be there with him but aren't. No cap. Mike should have been right there, homie. Mike should have been signing deals too, performing on stages, living that dream life for real. But Mike didn't make it to 18 years old, fam. Mike died at 17, never got to see Montana's success, never got to benefit from his own belief in his brother. Type timing. That's painful, gang. That's the type of pain that never fully goes away. No cap. Montana can have all the money and fame in the world, but he can't bring Mike back, homie. He can't go back and tell his brother, you were right one more time. For real. All he can do is honor Mike's memory through his success, through his music, through living the life Mike believed he could live type. And that's exactly what he's doing, fam. Every achievement is for Mike. Every milestone is in Mike's name. Montana turned his survivor's guilt into survivor's responsibility. The responsibility to make the most of the opportunity Mike's death created. The responsibility to represent for all the fallen homies who didn't make it out. The responsibility to show other young kids from Oak Cliff that there is a way out, gang. That double M chain Montana wears, that ain't just jewelry, no cap. That's a constant physical reminder of why he can't quit. Why he can't go back to the streets, why he got to keep pushing forward no matter what, homie. Every time he looks down and sees that chain, he remembers Mike, remembers the conversation that changed everything, remembers the potential his brother saw in him. For real, that's heavy, fam. That's carrying your dead brother's dreams on your back while building your own legacy, gang. That's the weight of being the one who made it out when so many didn't. Type timing. So what does Montana 700's story really represent beyond just another rapper made it out the hood tale, fam? It represents transformation, gang. Real legitimate transformation from one life to a completely different one. No cap. Montana didn't just leave the streets. He left the streets, homie. He took all the lessons, all the survival skills, all the hunger and desperation, and channeled it into something productive and legal for real. It represents possibility, fame. For every young kid in Oak Cliff or South Dallas or any hood in America who thinks they got no options, Montana 700 is living proof that there are other ways. Gang, you don't got to die or go to prison. You can find something you're passionate about, work at it consistently, apply your street smarts to it, and actually make it out. No cap, it represents loyalty, homie. Montana didn't make it and forget where he came from. Forget his people. Forget his neighborhood, for real. He's actively trying to bring others with him through the new Dallas movement type. He's showing that success don't mean abandoning your roots. It means using your success to elevate your community, fam. And most importantly, it represents the power of belief, gang. Mike believed in Montana when Montana didn't believe in himself. No cap. That belief planted a seed that eventually grew into everything Montana is today, homie. Sometimes all a young person needs one person who sees their potential and believes in them, even if they don't believe in themselves yet. For real. Mike never got to see the fruits of his belief. Fam. He never got to see Montana sign with 300 Entertainment. Never got to see him perform at sold-out shows. Never got to see him become a leader in the new Dallas movement, gang. But his belief lives on through everything Montana does. Type timing. His spirit is embedded in every song, every achievement, every moment of Montana's success. No cap. That's the real story of Montana 700, homie. That's how he made millions before rap. Not just through robbery and trapping, but through learning survival skills that would eventually translate to business success for real. And that's how he made millions after rap. By honoring his fallen brother's belief, applying street lessons to the music industry, staying authentic, and building something that can't be taken away, fam. From risk to reward, Montana 700 went from having 5 aggravated robbery cases at 14 years old to having a multi-million-dollar music career at 25, gang. From risking his life in traps every day for unpredictable money to making legitimate millions through music and real estate, no cap. From being one decision away from death or life in prison to being one of the faces of Dallas hip-hop's renaissance for real. That's not luck, fam. That's transformation. That's taking the worst circumstances and turning them into the best opportunities, gang. That's applying survival skills learned in the streets to survival in a legitimate industry, homie. That's honoring the memory of a fallen brother by living the life he believed you could live type every time Montana pulls up in a foreign, dripping in jewelry, closing real estate deals, performing at sold-out shows. He's not just flexing, no cap. He's proving that Mike was right. He's showing every young kid from Oak Cliff that there is a way out. He's demonstrating that your past don't have to define your future if you're willing to put in the work and make the transformation for real. That double chain he wears, that ain't just jewelry, fam. That's a reminder of why he can't go back. That's motivation when the industry gets tough. That's his brother's belief in physical form, keeping him grounded and pushing him forward at the same time, a game. Montana 700's story is one of the realest transformation stories in hip-hop right now, homie. No cap, no exaggeration, no industry fabrication, just a young dude from Oak Cliff who was deep in the streets, lost his best friend, and used that pain to fuel a complete life change that resulted in legitimate millions and lasting impact for real. From survival mode to superstar mode, from the trap to the top, from risking his life for unknown amounts to making millions legally. That's the Montana 700 story, fam. That's how he made millions before rap and how he's making even more millions through rap now, gang. And he's just getting started, no cap. The best is yet to come for Montana 700, for the new Dallas movement, for everyone trying to make it out where they from type timing. Long live Double M for real. What y'all think about Montana 700's journey from the streets to stardom, gang? Drop your thoughts in the comments, fam. If you learned something new today, hit that like button. Subscribe to stay up on more deep dives into hip-hop's realest stories. No cap. Check out the other videos on screen for more content.